Sri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Apitamekam Bhutale Swayam Rupam Dadami Dadati Swapanam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Tam Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sankana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Devam Avadhetam Savadhutam Parijanam Samitam Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sanagana Lavita Shri Vishakam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatadetarini Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pranayati Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gadam He Krishna Karma Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Taptakantanimharani Shiradi Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabha Devi Ranmami Hripriye Vancha Kalpatarunashya Krupachindane Vacha Patitanam Vaishnavam Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna. So last time we completed chapter number 17 and now we are supposed to start chapter number 18. So this is the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18. Conclusion: the perfection of renunciation. Krishna explains the meaning of renunciation and the effects of modes of nature on human consciousness and activity. He explains Brahman realization, the glories of Bhagavad Gita, and the ultimate conclusion of Gita. The highest path of religion is absolute, unconditional loving surrender to Lord Krishna, which frees one from all sins, brings one to complete enlightenment, and enables one to return to Krishna's eternal spiritual abode. So this is the conclusion in one way, this whole chapter. So here Krishna will talk about renunciation, effects of modes of nature on human consciousness, also with Brahman realization, and then the glories of Bhagavad Gita, and then the ultimate conclusion of Gita, that is to surrender to the Supreme Lord. So this is the division of this chapter, text 1 to 12. Krishna will talk about freedom from bondage through Karma Yoga. Then texts 13 to 17, Krishna will talk about 5 factors of action. Text 18 to 40, Krishna will talk about modes and how they control all the activities and all beings. 41 to 48, Krishna will talk about the purification through prescribed duties of one ashrama. 49 to 55, Krishna will talk about Brahman platform, confidential knowledge. 56 to 66, Krishna will talk about pure bhakti, that is acting in Krishna consciousness. And then the last section is 67 to 78. That is conclusion. So this is the division of this particular chapter, starting from text number 1, text number 78. So now we'll start with text number 1. So this is, now we are discussing the first section that is from text number 1 to text number 12. So this is text number 1. Arjuna Vacha Sannyasya Mahabhavo Tattvam Ichchami Veditum Tyagasya cha Rishikesha Prithakakeshi Ishudanaha. So this chapter starts with Arjuna asking this question that, "O mighty armed one, I want to know the purpose of renunciation, Tyaga, and of the renowned order of life, Sannyasa." So this is the question which Arjuna is asking. So he is asking about two things. I want to know about Tyaga. I want to know about Sannyasa. Are they two different things or are they two same things? If they are different, I want to know the difference. If they are same, then how these two terms they represent the same thing. So he is wanting to know about sannyas and tyag. What is tyag? What is sannyas? So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada initially briefly explains about the chapter, that how in Bhagavad Gita, actually in the chapter 70, the whole Bhagavad Gita is completed. So 18th chapter is a supplementary summarization of the topics discussed before. In every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord stresses that devotion service unto the Supreme Lord is the ultimate goal of life. The same point is summarized in the 18th chapter also. So in the first 6 chapters, stress was given to devotion service. Yogi Namapi Sarvesam, of all yogis or transcendentalist, one who always thinks of me is best. Then the next 6 chapters, they directly talk about devotion service and its natures and activities. Then in the last 6 chapters also, Krishna talk about knowledge, renunciation, the activities of material nature, and transcendental nature, and devotional service. So it was concluded that devotion service to the Supreme Lord is highest. And it was mentioned here, the third part of Bhagavad Gita has shown a devotion service, but nothing else is the ultimate goal of life. This has been established by citing past acharyas and Brahma Sutra. So like this, this was being established. Then Srila Prabhupada is saying, in the second chapter of the 18th chapter also, the synopsis was given, and the purpose of life is indicated to be renunciation and attainment of the transcendental position above 3 moods. So now, as such, whole Bhagavad Gita is complete, has everything is described by Krishna. He spoke about karma, he spoke about jnana, he spoke about bhakti. And then, while speaking about karma, also he established how bhakti is highest. While speaking about jnana, also he established jnana is highest. So in one way, Bhagavad Gita is completed in the chapter 17. But then, Arjuna just want to clarify what he heard in the previous chapters, mainly about these two terms, that is, sannyas and tyagaha. And same thing, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan also says that this particular chapter summarizes all the topics of Bhagavad Gita and speaks about the most sacred aspect of devotion and surrender within devotion. So now, this particular question which Arjuna is asking, so Arjuna gets a doubt about the meaning of the word sannyasa mentioned in the verses like in 5.13, Sarv karmani manasa sannyasyaaste sukham vasi. And meaning of tyaga mentioned in the statement like tyaktva karma phala sangam 4.20. So he is wanting to know Do these two words they have completely different meanings, such as trees and the stones, or they have similar meanings like Kurus and the Pandavas? If the words are completely different, then I want to know the different natures, Prithak Tattvam, of sannyas and tyag. If they are two alternate words describing the same thing, I want to know that. O mighty armed Krishna, Rishikesha, because you stimulate the function of intelligence, you alone have produced my doubt. You are also the killer of Keshi, and therefore you can kill my doubt. So same thing, Srila Baldev Devbhushan also is saying that how as such the Bhagavad Gita is complete in the chapter 17 itself, and chapter 18 is a summary of whole Bhagavad Gita with conclusion in the end. And to start with this chapter, Arjuna asked a question to Krishna referring to his doubt about so many verses which he heard in the previous chapters related to sannyas and tyaga. So now in the text 2, the Lord he will start describing about sannyas and tyaga. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamayanam Karmanam Nyansam Sanyasam Kavayo Vidu Sarva Karma Phala Tyagam Prahustyagam Vichakshanaha. Lord is saying, very beautiful, giving up the activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life. And giving up the result of all activities is what the wise called renunciation, tyaga. So there are two things. One is tyag, one is sannyas. So giving up the activities based on material desire, that is known as sannyas. Giving up the result of all the activities is known as tyaga. So sannyas means totally giving up the activity itself based on personal material desire. And tyaga means giving up the result of all kinds of activities. So see, there are mainly three kinds of activities. One is known as a kamya karma, then nitya karma, and then third one is nishedha karma. So nishedha karma means forbidden activities, like breaking regulative principles. These are forbidden activities, nishedha karma, which is not allowed only. So that is excluded. Now there are two kinds of karma remaining, nitya karma and kamya karma. Nitya karma means those activities which help in the elevation of the soul. So nitya karma meaning the activities like charity, the activities like austerity, sacrifice. Nitya karma means they are never to be given up. They help in the elevation of the soul. Then there is a kamya karma. Kamya karma means person has some material desires. So within the Vedic fold, there is a process to have fulfillment of those material desires. So they may worship some particular demigod to have a good wife or a good husband, or they may worship a particular demigod to have money or some success. That is known as a kamya karma. So here what Lord is saying, what is sannyas? Sannyas means giving up kamya karma, not performing any activities based on personal desire. That is sannyas. Giving up kamya karma. Nitya karma one is not supposed to give up. Nitya karma one should continue to perform. And tyaga means one is doing both. He is doing nitya karma also, kamya karma also. But he is becoming detached from the result of kamya karma also and nitya karma also. He is giving up. He is becoming free from the desire for the result for kamya karma and nitya karma. That is tyaga. So same things Srila Prabhupada is explaining. The activities leading to advanced spiritual knowledge are never to be given up. That means nitya karma are not supposed to be given up. But the kamya karma like sacrifice to have a good son, or going to higher planets. So this kame karma, though, so the meaning of sannyas is one gives up the kame karma. Srila Vallabhya Bhushan also explained this. He says, in Tyaga, one should perform all kame karma, nitya karma without seeking result. Whereas in sannyasa, one gives up kame karma itself. One does not perform kame karma, only performs nitya karma. That is sannyas. And he performs nitya karma also without desire for result. That is sannyas. And completely rejects the rituals for personal gratification. This is the distinction of the word sannyas and tyaga. So see, one stage is a person is into Niseda karma, where a person is breaking the four dilutive principles. So actually, he is not spoken about. Why? Because he is actually degrading to hell. So that's why not much is spoken about him. Then there is second category who believes in God, and this is a category which you will find in majority. They believe in God, they have some faith and some faithful disposition towards the Vedas, towards the Brahmanas, towards the process of bhakti, towards the Vedas, but they have a lot of material desires. So they take shelter of Vedas or they may go to temple for fulfillment of their material desires. They may perform certain activities for that. So that is known as Kame Karma. So this is second category where they come in the fold of devotion service, but to have fulfillment of their material desires. So they perform Kami Karma. This is second category. Then there is a third category who performs Nitya Karma and Kami Karma, but then they become detached from the result. They are performing Kame Karma, but then they are now detached from the result. They are offering that result also to the Supreme Lord. That is third category. Then there is a fourth category. They become detached from Kame Karma also. They don't want to perform Kame Karma also. Now they are in one way above the three modes of material nature. They are not being pushed by three modes of material nature. Till that time a person is within the three modes of material nature, he cannot stop action. He has to act as per the mode which he is associated with. So third category is where he acts, but then he gives up the result of his action to the Supreme Lord. And that is termed here or is known here as uh, Tyaga, where he gives up the result, but then he performs the action. Then fourth category is where he gives up the karma itself. That is kama karma, and that is sannyasa. That is more higher stage. So this is how the Lord explains about tyaga and sannyasa. So you have to remember this kama karma and nitya karma. So tyag means he is performing both nitya karma and kama karma, but then is detaching himself from the result. And sannyas means he is giving up performance of kama karma itself. And nitya karma he has to continue. त्याजं दोषवद इति एके कर्म प्राहुर्मानुषिणः यज्ञदान तप कर्म न त्याजम iti chapare. That's why Krishna again here emphasizes the same point that one is not supposed to give up nitya karma. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty, yet others says maintain that act as sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. So, which activities can be given up? Kame karma. But the activities which help in the elevation of the soul, they should never be given up. That is nitya karma. So, even those who take up to sannyas order, they also should continue this. They should perform sacrifices. They should give charity. Those who are sannyasis, they may not have money to give charity, but then they have a knowledge to share with others. So they should not hold their knowledge with them. They should try to give that knowledge to others. They should perform austerity, penance, or Atma Suddhi for the purification of their soul and the existence. They should never be abandoned. Srila Prabhupada is talking about same thing. Then Srila Baldev Devbhushan ji says in this particular verse. So he says, Lord is stating different opinion about Tyaga. So here you will find Lord is saying, no, some people they say like this, that some activities that all should be given up as faulty, and some people they say that especially sacrifice, charity, and penance, they should never be given up. So he's saying different kind of spiritualist, they have different opinion, and Lord is quoting those opinion. So those who are followers of Sankhya philosophy, they say action should be completely given up. Tyagam, the action should be completely given up. Since by their very nature, action breed violence to other creatures. So they say action should be completely given up of all kinds because by very nature action creates violence to other creatures. And they quote this Shruti statement, Ma himsayat sarvabhutani. Do not commit violence against any living entity. This is quoted by Sridhar Swami in his commentary. It is also quoted in 2.19 by Ramanuja, as well as in their Vedanta Sutra commentary in 3.1.25. Chandogya Upanishad 8.15 also has a similar statement, Ahimsa Sarvabhutani. The Shruti say violence is integral to the sacrifice. Agni Somyam Pasum Alabhe. One should obtain an animal for the sacrifice. Taittiriya Samhita. Therefore, one should give up all these actions on being cause of impurity. Also, there is a possibility of violence in procuring the ingredient of sacrifice. They say all prescribed duties should be given up. This is who? The followers of Sankhya. They say all should be given up. Why? Because the very nature of action involves violence to others. So one is when you perform sacrifice, then animals are required, the Vedic sacrifice. So then there is a violence. Even in accumulating the ingredients required for sacrifice, there is a violence. You have to cut the plants and you have to gather the ingredients. Whereas the other followers of Gemini, they say actions such as sacrifice should never be given up because one incurs no sin from performing what is prescribed in the Vedas. Even if there is a violence in the action, there is no fault because it is following the principles of Dharma. They must be performed. The injunctions of non-violence stated in the Vedas is a general rule and speaks of incurring sin for the action other than sacrifice. The sacrifice cannot at all be criticized. So, in one way, anything we perform in the material world will involve some pain to others. That's how this whole material world is made. Jiva, jivasya, jivanam. But then still, when being in the material world, we try to align ourselves with what is mentioned in the Vedas, and as per Vedas, we try to perform our action. Then we are not bound by whatever small or whatever minimum violence may be caused to others. So, like the Vedas, they say you can eat grains, fruits, vegetables. So, while gathering them, also there is violence to others. But then it is mentioned in the Vedas, so we gather them because among all the creatures, the creature which has form of plant and vegetable and all, they will experience least pain when we cut them because of their very dumb consciousness. So that's why Lord is saying, principle in the material world is try to live your life in a way where you cause least pain to others. You cannot live a life in the material world without causing any pain to others. In the Vedic time, there used to be some sannyasis. They would wait for a fruit from a tree to fall on its own. They will not even go and they will pluck the fruit, knowing that it will cause some pain. It is very high standard. Can you imagine? Mangoes have come, and then you are waiting. When the mango will become ripe and when it will fall on its own, and then I'll gather it. Very high standard. So In general, we find that if you want to survive in the material world, then we can't avoid committing some violence to others. But when what we are doing is under the direction of the Vedas, then we are not bound by the sinful reaction. So it is mentioned in the Vedas we can have vegetable, fruits, and other things. And then we should offer it to the Supreme Lord. And after offering, we can honor it as a sadhana. Then we will not be bound by sin. Otherwise, any activity we perform, there will be some sin. Second thing is mentioned is there are some activities which will help in our spiritual elevation. We should never give up those activities also, and we should perform these activities as per what is mentioned in the Vedas, under the direction of the Vedas. So we will not be bound by the sin and will be elevated by performing these activities. निश्चयं शिनु मे तत्र त्याग भारत सत्तम त्यागो हि पुरुषा व्याघ्रः त्रिविधः संप्रतीपितः. O best of Bharata, now hear my judgment. So in the previous verse, the Lord spoke about the opinion of other people like Gemini, Kapila, opinion of these people about giving up activities and not giving up activities. Now in this verse, Krishna is saying, now hear my opinion. So here now Krishna is speaking his opinion about renunciation. So he's saying, O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds. So now the Lord will give his opinion. So after describing the different opinion, the Lord says his own opinion. Please listen to the conclusion coming from me, the omniscient Supreme Lord, concerning the subject of Tyaga, about which there are many options. Since you have just explained about Tyaga, what more must be heard? You must hear because three types of Tyaga are discerned by the learned. By the distinction of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, Vidaha, that which is difficult to understand should be heard. Therefore, listen about three types. The description actually starts in verse 7. So, Lord is saying to Arjuna, Arjuna says, Lord, you already explained about Tyaga and Sannyas. Lord is saying, yes, but you need to know more in detail that there are three types based on the three modes of material nature. यज्ञदान तपः कर्म न त्याज्यं कार्यम् एव तत् यज्ञोदानं तपश्चैव पावनानि मानिष्यन्म्. So this description, what the Lord is saying in the previous verse, that will start from text number 7, where Lord will speak about Tyaga, renunciation in three modes of material nature. And as far as this particular verse is concerned, here Lord is giving his opinion that what he feels about which activity should be given up, which activity should not be given up. So now Lord is giving his own opinion that Nitya Karma should never be given up, even by those who take up to sannyas. So what are Nitya Karmas? Sacrifice, charity and penance. They should never be given up. Indeed, they purify even the great souls. Lord is saying they purify even the pure. They have such purifying tendency. So Lord is giving his opinion about sacrifice. So naturally in Kali Yuga Prabhupada says which sacrifice we perform? Japa sacrifice. And then charity. And for sannyasi, charity is giving knowledge. For Vyastha, charity is giving their money. So whatever one has, that he is trying to offer to others. And then penance. Tapodivyam putraka ena sattvam. One is trying to take up voluntary inconvenience for achieving higher goal, for becoming focused on higher goal. So Srila Prabhupada is saying the yajnas, sacrifice, generally they are performed for advancement of human civilization. So there are many purificatory process for advancing a human being to spiritual life. The marriage ceremony, for example, is considered to be one of these sacrifices. It is called Vivayagya. Should a sannyasi who is in the renounced order of life and who has given up his family relationship encourage the marriage ceremony? The Lord says here, any sacrifice which is meant for human welfare should never be given up. Vivayagya. So the marriage ceremony is meant to regulate the human mind so that it may become peaceful for spiritual advancement. For most men, this Vivah Yagya should be encouraged, even by the person in the renounced order of life. So Srila Prabhupada in Yagya is bringing the samskaras also. So this Vivah Yagya that Srila Prabhupada is highlighting here. That even sannyasis who have given up these things, but they should not discourage others, because for most men it is important to have the peaceful mind so that they can perform devotional service. But as far as sannyasi, they should never associate with a woman. But that does not mean that other people they don't accept the wife. Similarly, charity is for the purification of the heart, and charity should be given to a suitable person as described previously. So, in the two verses, the Lord first states his own conviction in the matter. So, for the wise, the obligatory activities, nitya karma, that is sacrifice, charity, and penance, they should never be given up because purify pavanani. They destroy the fault accumulated by repeated birth through the knowledge arising within them like a lotus blossoming from a root. So actually, these things are so much emphasized: sacrifice, charity, and austerity. So Lord gave his own opinion in text number 5, and again he'll continue his opinion in text number 6. And then from text number 7, he will describe about tyaga, renunciation in 3 modes of mortality. एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानि मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतम उत्तमम्. All the activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Pratha. This is my final opinion. So, although all sacrifices are purifying, one should not expect any result from such sacrifice. In other words, all sacrifices which are meant for material advancement in life should be given up. But the sacrifice that purifies one's existence and elevate one to the spiritual plane should not be stopped. Everything that leads to Krishna consciousness must be encouraged. In Srimad Bhagavatam also it is said any activity which leads to devotion service of the Lord should be accepted. That is the highest criterion of religion. A devotee of the Lord should accept any kind of work, sacrifice, charity which help him in the discharge of devotion service to the Lord. यहाँ पर Lord क्या बता रहे हैं? One should perform these activities which help one to advance without any attachment and without any expectation of the result. So Baldev Vidyabhushan also is saying same thing. The Lord speaks about how the sacrifice and other acts are purifying. Having given up the idea of being an agent, Sangam, and giving up the result, Falani, which the action are said to produce, such as going to Pitraloka, one should do these actions only with the thought that they are worship of the Lord. This is the highest conclusion, Uttamam Matam, discerned by me, Nishchitam. This conclusion of the Lord about Tyaga is the best because it includes additionally renunciation of being the doer. So this Lord gave his own opinion. So initially Arjuna asked about these two terms, right? What is Tyaga and what is Sannyasa? This, so we discussed, anyone can speak what is Tyaga, what you heard or what you understood.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Prabhuji, in Tyaga, the person performs both the activities like Kamya Karma and Nitya Karma. but
Mhm.
he gives up the results of those activities. He's not attached to the results of those activities.
So he performs nitya karma and kamya karma. Right. And what is sannyas?
In sannyas,
In
Prabhuji,
sannyas,
Yes, any devotee.
in sannyas, the person gives up the karma itself, like
Which?
nitya, kamic karma, and he
Ah,
performs only nitya karma.
yes. And he performs nitya karma without being attached to result. So now, after describing these two, Krishna then gave his own opinion that he also feels that nitya karma they should never be given. And then Krishna is saying that one should perform this nitya karma without being attached to the result. And then Srila Prabhupada is giving a devotional definition that one should perform all activities which lead to devotional advancement and give up all activities which does not help in this purpose. So this particular definition, Prabhupada brings down to this point that one should perform all the activities which help one to develop or grow in his devotion, and one should give up all those activities which does not help in this purpose, and even the activities which one is doing for advancement should be done without attachment to the result. As we see in Bhagavatam also, na utpade tirtiratam sram evahi kevalam. If one is doing activities, but those activities are not supportive to increase of his rati for the Supreme Lord, then that is sram evahi kevalam, that is waste of time. Whereas the activities which can help them, those activities should never be given. So this is how Krishna is giving his opinion also, like that. Now Krishna is talking more about, you will find Krishna defined sannyasa and tyaga, and then Krishna is speaking and defining more about tyaga. Why? Because Arjuna is not a sannyasi. Arjuna is a grasta. So tyaga, in that he is describing that as per me, uh, a person should not be attached to the result and person should continue the karma. But then he is taking that tyaga also to a devotional level. That even a person who is at level of tyaga, he should try to give up those activities which become hindrance to devotional service. And he should try to perform all other activities without being attached to the result for the spiritual advancement. And same thing, Srila Prabhupada also summarizes in the purport that most people they will need Viva Yagya and other things, but they have to keep this principle in priority that they give up those activities which become obstacle to their devotional advancement, and they take up those activities which help them to devotionally advance, but not being attached to the result. So this is how these first six verses are summarized. Now Krishna will talk about Tyaga in three modes. Again, he's talking about Tyaga only. That is renunciation. So he's saying, Niyatasya tu sannyasa karmano nopapadyate mohatasya pratiyagas tamasah prakipititah. Yes, somebody can read.
duties should never be renounced. If these prescribed duties are upheld, system is said to be.
Actually, this is very special. What Lord is saying is prescribed duty should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duty because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in a mode of ignorance. So see, our Vedic culture actually never talks about being lazy. Vedic culture never talks about being irresponsible. Vedic culture talks about taking responsibility at right time, at the same time, leaving that when your time is up. Modern culture, you will find either people are irresponsible or they become responsible, then they become attached. So Vedic culture talks about being responsible, but then detached. That is how Vedic culture talks about, that you be responsible, but then you be detached. Because currently you have particular varna, you are in particular ashram, so you take this responsibility and don't give up just because they are difficult. Because when you do these responsibilities along with taking shelter of Krishna, you will be purified by taking these responsibilities. But then don't become attached at right time. You should be able to give them up also. So Prabhupada is saying, as Lord Krishna is saying, prescribed duty should never be renounced. Srila Prabhupada directly connects to devotional purports about Bhakti Yoga. So now, here this Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan is saying, now the Lord speaks about three types of Tyaga, as he spoke in text number 4, that I will explain about three types of Tyaga. So one should give up Kamya Karma because they lead to bondage. But one should not renounce Nitya and Nimittik Karma such as 5 daily sacrifice, offering to the Brahmanas, basically those activities which uplift a soul. These should not be given up because they produce liberation through the knowledge inherent in them from aiming at Atma. If a person does the opposite of what was stated in chapter 3, in such a statement as Nityam Kuru Karmatvam, and gives up those duties completely, Parityagaha, out of lack of knowledge, moha, thinking that they will cause bondage, it is in the tamasic mode. Since moha is the quality of mode of ignorance. So he's saying somebody has a prescribed duty, like here Arjuna being a Kshatriya, he has a prescribed duty to fight for dharma. And if he's thinking that, oh, I should give up this prescribed duty because it will cause bondage. And why he's thinking like this? Because of the lack of knowledge, moha. So then giving up a prescribed duty like this, that is in mode of ignorance. So what Krishna brings out principle here is that it is not action which causes bondage. It is the consciousness behind the action that causes bondage or liberation. So if same activity is performed by Arjuna in a material consciousness for his own sense gratification, then that will cause bondage. Same activity when performed by Arjuna for the Supreme Lord, same activity will become the activity of his liberation. See, Arjuna also is fighting, Duryodhana also is fighting. But Duryodhana is getting more bound and Arjuna is getting more liberated. Activity is same. Why? Because the purpose is different, the consciousness is different. So what Lord is saying, don't just on the mere basis of activity decide whether to give them up or not to give them up. You decide on the basis of that what is your dharma now and how you can perform those activities in connection to the elevation of the soul. And those activities which you can perform as per your dharma, you should continue. And then slowly, as you take up to other ashrama, then accordingly you can give them up. So Vedic culture talks about varna and ashrama. And as per the combination of varna and ashrama, the prescribed duties are mentioned in the scriptures. And one should stick to those prescribed duties. But One should not become attached, and one should know the purpose of prescribed duty is the elevation to develop love for the Lord. So this is, he's saying, is in the Tamsik. And Prabhupada is bringing out devotional purport. So Prabhupada is saying that one should not give up spiritual activities, like if cooking for the Lord, although it may be difficult. But cooking for oneself is prohibited. But cooking for the Lord is not prohibited. And similarly, a sannyasi may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciple in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. If one renounces such activities, it is to be understood that he is acting in the mode of darkness. Dukkham. So this actually, Bhagavad Gita, again Prabhupada had to write when Prabhupada went to US, because the transcript which Prabhupada had written in India was sold by his wife. And when Prabhupada went to the US, that time he had to get his disciples married. And that's why there was some criticism from India that how can a sannyasi perform marriage? That's why you find again and again, Srila Prabhupada is writing about sannyasi performing marriage of others. Then he saying, Dukkham iti eva yat karma kaya klesha bhayatyade sa kritva raja samtyagam neva tyaga phalam labhet. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to be renounced in mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. तो somebody gives a prescribed duty, अरे बहुत कष्ट हो रहा है, बहुत दिक्कत हो रहा है और बहुत discomfort हो रहा है, then that is in the mode of passion. So one in Krishna consciousness should not give up earning money out of fear that he is performing fruitive activity. If by working one can engage his money in Krishna consciousness, or if by rising early in the morning one can advance, one should not desist out of fear, because such activities are considered troublesome. Such renunciation is in the mode of passion. The result of passionate work is always miserable. If a person renounces work in that spirit, he never gets the result of renunciation. So sometimes we'll find there are some devotees, they may not want to join brahmachari ashram also because of certain situation. And then if you tell them that, okay, go to grastha ashram, and they don't want to go to grastha ashram also because they feel, so much responsibility, so much trouble, how I can do. So that is not good. One has to go in one of the ashram. If one feels he can, then he can go to brahmachari ashram. If not, then he should go to grastha ashram and he should take responsibility of grastha ashram. And he can plan responsibility in such a way that it helps him to make spiritual advancement. But one cannot just run out of responsibility thinking that they are troublesome. Like for a grastha, it is their dharma to take care of the parents. They cannot say, oh, my parents are old and so much trouble I cannot take. No, it becomes very sinful to not take care of the parents. For a grastha, it is one of his duty. Like this, he has to take care of all the dependents, like mother and father. They have to take care of the child. It is their responsibility. They cannot say, mother cannot say, oh, child is giving so much trouble. No, it is her responsibility to take care. Same way in another purport, Prabhupada says, a mother may find a lot of difficulty to cook in the summer because it is lot of heat. But then still she should continue. Why? Because it is her duty. So one should not give up prescribed duty just because they are troublesome. Then it will be in mode of passion. And Srila Baldev Bhushan is saying, even knowing that performing prescribed action with no desire is a cause of liberation, if the desirer of liberation gives up those actions out of fear of bodily pain, kaya klesha bhaya, such as having difficulties to obtain the material for sacrifice or disliking the discomfort of a morning bath, his renunciation is in the mode of passion. Since such experience of discontent is the quality or the mode of passion. Having given up action, that person will not attain steadiness in jnana, tyaga phalam, which is a result of the performance of action. तो यहाँ क्या बताया है कि अगर कोई व्यक्ति इस प्रकार से if he gives up his prescribed duties or because of the fear of the bodily discomfort, then he will not become steady in the jnana, which is the result of the performance of action. The result of karma is to come to jnana. So he will not come to the platform of jnana because he is not performing his prescribed duties in all situations. Because of the fear of discomfort, he is giving up those prescribed duties. So whatever prescribed duties we have as per our varna and ashrama, we have to do it. And we should do it within the Vedic boundary, and at the same time with the ultimate purpose of surrendering to the Krishna, with the ultimate purpose of kindling our love for the Supreme Lord. Okay, so we'll end here. We could discuss till text number 8, and from text number 9 we'll continue tomorrow. If anyone has any question or doubt, then we will discuss.
हरे कृष्ण गुरु
हरे कृष्ण।
जी जैसे हम लोग कॉमन सेशंस देते हैं उसमें मतलब ऐसे प्रोमिनेंट नहीं लेकिन मतलब तो फैक्टर तो ये रहता ही है बोलते हैं कि ऐसे कोई जॉब ना लें जिसमें बहुत ज्यादा काम करना पड़ता है या आपके पास टाइम ना हो रहने के लिए बहुत ज्यादा हार्डशिप हो बहुत ज्यादा भाग दौड़ हो ऐसे काम को हम अवॉइड करना चाहते हैं या आपकी बॉडी के लिए अच्छा नहीं होगा तो फिर उसको कैसे देखना चाहिए फर्स्ट टेक्स्ट नंबर 8 के हिसाब से मतलब ये प्रोमिनेंट नहीं होता लेकिन ये भी एक फैक्टर रहता है काफी बड़ा फैक्टर होता है ये भी हम लोग जब भी चूज करते हैं
राइट। तो इसमें क्या है, देखिए इसलिए वो भी बताया गया है लॉर्ड के द्वारा कि while taking care of a prescribed duty, we also have to see that they are in line with our ultimate purpose. So if someone is thinking like this, let me take a job where I have more time for Krishna, let me take a job where I can have more association of devotees, that is not wrong. You understood? That is in line with the ultimate purpose. So that is not wrong, but somebody is thinking that अरे इसमें तो बहुत troublesome है, ये बहुत आसान है, ये करेंगे आराम से घर में फिर ज्यादा सोने को मिलेगा, then that is wrong.
मतलब ये डिजायर मिक्स होती है ना भक्ति करने का भी रहता है डिजायर वो मिक्स होता है एक तरफ से भक्ति का भी रहता है एक तरफ से आराम का भी होता है कि ज्यादा उधर मेहनत नहीं लगानी पड़ेगी
हाँ, तो जितना मिक्स है उतना उसमें प्रॉब्लम है, जितना वो उस अल्टीमेट पर्पस के लिए है उतना वो आपके लिए अच्छा है, ऐसा। Right. Okay, any other devotee have some question or maybe end here now? Okay, so thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.